That's like so interesting. Okay, good.
Yeah, my brother was watching a kids show on TV.
Yep.
And they said Monday on your day off, and I was like, what?
No way.
People get Martin Luther King Jr. Day off.
Some do, I believe.
We should. It's national holiday.
Yeah, Carl's off.
Trump said so.
Who?
Carl is.
Whenever he's not on there, we shouldn't have school.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Carl is.
CNN 10, student news.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
Same with Karen.
Thank
That's
you.
more of a channel.
Can everybody get it done?
Yeah.
I don't. We used to always watch Channel 1, but I hadn't had a first block class in a while.
So if you don't have a first block 1-2 class, what time do you have to show up to school?
By the
Since I had
time
Jesse.
of 3-4.
Was that first year, Jesse? What year was that? Your sophomore year? We had block 1, 2? Plant science?
Yeah,
All right.
if you don't have a block 1-2 class, what time do you have to show up?
Same as everybody else. I need you guys to turn to page
If you don't have
Number
a 7-8, can you just leave at
2.
o'clock?
No. Page number 2, and then I want you to get your notes open. Did everybody turn in those vocab
Yeah.
notes? No. Yeah, go ahead. Turn that in on.
Good, I need that grade in here.
I know. I gotta get this straight.
I've been planning hardcore.
You've been what?
Hardcore planting out in the greenhouse, and I haven't gotten a grade for it.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We are going to go ahead and get started today. You got a couple words there that are in this chapter. So let's go ahead and get started. Those are kind of all the objectives for the chapter. This chapter reads what is it called? It's called the Plant Kingdom. Very good. Great job. It's kind of an intro unit on just plant science in general. So here's kind of a long list of objectives, but we're going to mainly get into different uses for plants. Talk a little bit about how the geography influences the types of plants. And it goes on. Describe how agriculture uses various formal and informal, scientific, non-scientific classifications. We'll talk about 2 people that really kind of set up the whole classification system. Discuss the importance of taxonomic systems. Identify the basis of current systematic taxonomy systems. So that's when that term nomenclature comes into play. Also name 2 classes of the spermophyta division of plants. Describe gymnosperms and angiosperms and give 2 examples of each of them. Also list the difference between monocotyledon and dicotyledon, or monocots and dicots. Give 2 examples of each of them. And then also describe the binomial system for naming plants. Okay? If somebody can go ahead and tell me who created the binomial nomenclature system for naming genus species, I'll give you a donut.
God.
Jesse, who?
I forgot.
Wait, Doug, say the question again?
You can't look it up either.
No, I'm not.
You can't look it up in your book either.
I'm not.
Who created the binomial nomenclature? This kind of system of just going in for a scientific name and using 2 words, the genus and species.
The
What?
Latin
It's not
language.
Martin Luther King Jr.
What does it start with?
Yeah, you gotta give us a
Does it
little
start with
bit.
C?
Who created?
What is it?
Maybe.
George Washington Carver.
Wait, well,
First name
It
Carl?
was not, but we will talk about George Washington Carver in here. That's chapter 2, I believe.
the peanut guy, yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll get to him.
Was it Albert Einstein?
It was not Albert.
Hold on, let me open up my notes.
Was it Mr. Fisher?
Still got him?
Yeah.
All right.
Was it
Everyone
Mr.
has left
Fisher?
the call.
Could have been.
You know, doctor.
Oh, I am going to tell you guys too that I am recording this one on my screen so I can give it to a student that's not here.
So I shouldn't say anything
Uh,
weird.
yeah, that would be good.
Is it in his presentation? His thing?
Possibly, yes. You remember this, don't you? Two people that have taken plant science should remember.
I mean, this is
All right,
a
let's
big
roll.
name.
This is important.
Guys.
Plants from the kingdom of Plante manufacture their own food. Oh, Devin, go ahead and read page 2 for us.
What?
Page 2,
Theo.
not Theophrastus.
Energy uptake.
Yeah, that's what I want you to read.
Carlos.
That was bad.
The energy obtained from food is first converted from sunlight to usable, transferable energy by green plants. The oxygen supply in the Earth's atmosphere is a result of photosynthesis by green plants. Fossil fuels come from plant material. Plants also create and modify local environmental conditions on which many species of animals and other plants depend. With more than 500,000.
Say, read that again. Read it one more time.
The first paragraph,
No, that word, that number.
500,000. Different kinds of plants, people need a way to communicate about them. This method cannot be limited by language and location differences. The method must also help group and determine the similarities and differences among plants.
All right, that's where we are. So 500,000 kinds of plants exist on this earth today.
I believe
So there
that's-
definitely
that's
needs
more.
to be a way to communicate about what a, for instance, the easy example would be corn, okay, Z maize. If we talk about, actually, I'll use that example later. But that's what really the whole taxonomy, that's kind of what this chapter does get into, and that's why it's important because there's so many different plants on the earth. What were you gonna say?
None.
Awesome. So plants, we know they manufacture their own food, have continuous rapid growth readily modified by the environment, and that's where we'll start here. Historically, plants have been considered one of the two kingdoms of living things. What do you think the other one is? Plants and
People.
animals. Yeah, that's good. Plants, kingdom Plante, are broadly distinguished from animals, kingdom Animalia, by being stationary, by manufacturing their own food, and by a continuous rapid growth that is steadily modified by the environment, and in possessing a less definite form when mature. Possibly 500,000 kinds of plants exist, and many do not fit well into either kingdom. Recent trends in classification recognize 5 different kingdoms based on evolutionary origins and relationships, which is what we got here. Monera. Monera would be the bacteria and the blue-green algae. Where have you guys seen blue-green algae? Or
Water in the lake.
yeah, right. That's where you hear about it. Like this stuff here. That could be kind of the blue-green algae. What is a bad thing about blue-green algae?
Can kill you.
It could be toxic, but how is it toxic to fish too?
Takes the oxygen.
Bingo. Do you guys remember in Intro to Ag when we talked kind of about that hypoxic zone down at the Gulf of Mexico? There's kind of sometimes increased algae blooms because all of the rivers kind of centralize and go down the Mississippi. You remember this at all? Perfect.
Kinda.
All right.
Kind
So
of.
that's, yeah, it just takes the oxygen out of the water. And we got Protista, including all other algae and little protozoans. Because before, if it's just plants and animals, what would you categorize bacteria or little protists as? So they had to make new, that's right. Good. I'm glad there was silence because you don't know, right?
Yeah.
And that's why there's more kingdoms added besides plants and animals. Mycota, which are, it says, are funguses, such as mushrooms and molds. Who enjoys mushrooms on their pizza?
Yeah.
Pizza.
Taylor, what'd you give me a little?
Taylor,
You don't really
maybe.
like mushrooms, huh?
Mushrooms don't belong on a pizza.
I think
They do. I like mushrooms, but not on pizza.
Kidding me? You know what the best pizza in the world is?
Mushroom pizza.
Yes,
No.
mushroom
Breakfast
pizza.
bacon.
I will eat any
Yeah,
pizza,
it's
but
pretty good. I like Canadian bacon and mushroom. Best pizza. My wife does not like mushrooms, and it's sad.
did you have a good date with her on Friday?
It was actually Saturday.
Saturday?
You have a good time? Where'd you go?
Yeah, went to
To the movie?
Ferdinand.
I saw
Really?
you scooping your driveway.
Yeah, waved to you, and you did this. And just kept driving.
Did you
Not even a wave.
It's not safe to take your hands off the wheel.
True, Jesse. Thanks.
I was being a safe driver.
There you were. We got Plantae then next, which is simpler plants containing mosses, ferns, seed plants, and several minor groups. Okay?
Wait, do we have to fill in this?
I don't think so.
There's places on the third slide that fill them in.
Oh, yeah, you will eventually.
You already had.
But you already went past that.
It's
Oh, did I?
Kingdom Plantae 500.
Yeah, now yeah, that's where I'm just at. And then Animalia, our last one.
Jokes, what is that?
That's what I feel like in my back problems. Too much weight on. My back can't handle it. All right, here we go. Plant evolution. So there's a little bit of a broadcast there. I'll read this couple little paragraphs. The earliest known forms of life date back about 3.5 billion years ago. It's a long time. These organisms were apparently bacteria and blue-green algae. Green algae are believed to have appeared about 1 billion years ago, as did the funguses. Photosynthetic algae began putting oxygen into the atmosphere, and by about 600 million years ago, the atmospheric oxygen was sufficient to support life on land. The earliest land plants occurred a little more than 400 million years ago during the late Silurian period and were similar to the wisp fern of today. The first seed plants appeared about 350 million years ago during the late Devonian period and are called seed ferns because of the large fern-like leaves. The flowering plants, which you pretty much know, that's kind of what we have. I mean, we see a lot more flowering plants now. Those date back about 120 million years ago, or earlier in the early Cretaceous period. Today, flowering plants total about 2/3 of all plants. So what's an example of a flowering plant
Mr.
that you
Ducks.
think is
A
really
daisy.
pretty? It's not me.
You know who that is?
Yeah, is she on my live stream or what?
Yeah,
On
she
YouTube?
wants to learn about plant evolution too. So
Right on, we're just settle in here.
A rose?
We're going at it.
Look, Taylor's back.
Rose. Ask JL what type of flowering plant she really thinks is pretty.
Joe, what type of flowering plant do you really think is pretty? I don't think she can hear us. What do you think is pretty?
A daisy.
Jokes would like to know. Oh my god.
Flowering plant that you think is really pretty. Tulip. That's a flowering plant.
That's a flowering
Good.
120 million years ago, they evolved.
120 million.
Oh, and we talked about
How do
blue-green
you-
algae.
How do you know that?
Hmm?
How do
Jokes
you know
was
that?
there.
What did they? somebody
Because
just made all this stuff
researchers
up.
have gone back and they've done a lot of carbon dating. Okay, Taylor, explain the process of carbon dating to us.
Alright. The basic idea is that you use radiology and the half-life and see how far through the half-life the element that they've chosen to go on is, and that's how they can get a rough estimate of the date.
Date it back.
Ah, see, didn't think I'd be able to answer it. This
Jake's
is
Is it gonna run?
Where's Jake? Oh, okay, well, you just caught that on video. Now everybody on my YouTube channel.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
You give me two.
Get out of here.
Well, you give me two. It's
All right.
come back. You know what?
Wait,
All right,
your
next.
YouTube channel?
Geographical distribution.
Your video is gonna get demonetized on YouTube. You'll make no money off.
It'll be recorded.
Okay, let's go to geographical distribution. Learn a little bit about evolution of plants. Moral of the story is 120 years ago, flowering plants came about. What did it say though that created the oxygen for our ozone layer, for our atmosphere?
Can you repeat the question?
What type of plants did it say was the development really of our atmosphere that we're able to breathe?
Trees.
It did not say trees, but it said green algae.
Yep.
Green algae was the reason why we got all this oxygen on our earth.
Just, it doesn't say your live stream.
It doesn't? Oh, maybe I have it as private. So how did she see it then? Or was she not on YouTube?
She was on Google Hangouts. Look, I can't see.
Yeah, I was on Google Hangouts.
She was FaceTime.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah, so you need to make your video public.
I will eventually.
So then I can see it.
All right, next here.
That was you talking.
Nice. No, I know it was me. All right, geographical distribution. Few places on the earth can be found where at least some of the 500,000 species of plants are not adapted to live. Only the polar zones, the highest mountains, and the deepest oceans, and the driest deserts are devoid of plants, other than bacteria. Each plant species has a limited distribution depending on its own particular requirements. Some species are broadly distributed, being tolerant of wide ranges of conditions. Narrowly restricted species have limited tolerance to a specific factor such as soil type. Such as, think about a lemon plant, lemon tree.
I love.
Can you grow
lemons in
lemon
my water.
trees here in Nebraska?
No,
Why?
it's cold here.
Yeah, right? Climate-wise, it needs warmer climates, and also it needs more, I believe, acidic soils
Yes.
to grow that lemon.
I love lemons in my water.
I hate that.
Why?
What?
It gives it flavor.
Hey, we're all individuals. We all can like and not like certain things. Right?
No,
Yes.
you're gonna like lemons in your water. Do you like oranges? in your
No.
water?
No, I like eating oranges.
It's
Okay,
like
next
chicken
year.
water, so mix them.
Climate is the major factor affecting the distribution of plants and determining their structural adaptations. Which again, what's an adaptation? What'd you put on your
Well, it says there's misspelled in ours.
worksheet there?
It said it was in the top. Oh, it's right here. It
It's
is the major factor affecting the distribution of plants and determining their structural.
That's what he just read.
It is one. Very good. What is an adaptation?
Isn't it like a change?
Yeah, right. It's how an organism can change or become accustomed to that type of environment.
Is it like a
Changes
mutation?
the plant.
It could be a
To survive
mutation.
in a specific
We learned about mutations.
Yeah.
and-
Over time, and
Nothing. I read it.
Oh, yeah, you can read it again.
you can grow a tail.
Yeah.
Changes a plant or animal make to survive in a specific environment.
Great. So there could be some genetic mutations that could turn into an adaptation. Absolutely. The greatest number of species are found near the equatorial regions of the tropical climate where moisture and temperature are seldom limiting factors to support plant life. Thank you. The number of species in area decreases towards the poles.
Sound
Plants adapt as they occupy drier or colder areas away from the tropics. In drier climates, our plants develop features known as xeromorphic characteristics or dry form characteristics, such as smaller, thicker leaves, spines, dense hairiness, and water storage organs. Okay, think of a plant that has been adapted to a drier climate, warmer climate. We got some in the greenhouse.
Fishies.
No, I wasn't thinking fish. I was thinking a plant. Remember I said plant?
There's cactus.
I'd say cacti. Yeah, that definitely could be. In colder zones, plants grow closer to the ground with the growing points protected at or just above the ground. Because of similar adaptations, plants or specific climate zones form a characteristic vegetation type. A large area occupying a given climatic zone and with characteristic vegetation and associated groups of animals is called a biome. Did you guys talk about major biomes in biology?
Yeah, like it goes ecosystem and something else, population, those.
And then it gets into a biome,
Yeah,
right?
that
Similar
always
characteristics, they adapted, vegetation, great. Some include the tropical rainforest, desert, and the tundra. Very good. Okay, everybody get these.
You ever been to a frozen tundra?
I have not, but it's felt like Nebraska has been a little bit like that the past, month.
It was like 60 a week ago. What are you talking about?
About a week ago.
Not 60.
It was 60 a week.
Actually, you might be right. And then it turned, right? For last Friday.
To 20.
Thursday, true.
It snowed
And then it's-
yesterday.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Just snowed this morning.
It snowed.
Yeah, it snowed.
Okay, plant
Rainy
rolls.
last night.
This is what we're gonna get into. We'll finish up with this today. We're gonna go through all these plant rolls. Basis of the food chain. We know raw material or energy for industry and active ingredients in medicines. That's really what some different plant rolls are. So they are vital in, says the cycling of nutrients, especially for us, okay? Who in here enjoys a nice salad?
Some days.
Who enjoys eating vegetables? Who enjoys eating fruits? You're not a vegetable person, huh?
Who is?
Fruit person. I'm more of a vegetable than a fruit person.
Ow.
I
Fruits
definitely, I
are
am.
way sweeter than.
I just
Are you
like,
not a sweet
I like salads. I like broccoli, cauliflower,
corn?
carrots, corn, green beans, peas. I mean, hate beets
Tomatoes?
though. Hate beets.
Do you like tomatoes?
You like
Hate
fruit?
beets. What?
Because tomatoes are vegetable.
I like fruit, yeah, but it's not probably one of my favorite. Do I like what? Tomatoes?
Yeah,
I
because
do
those are
like
vegetables.
tomatoes. No. We'll get into that. All right, let's go to our first one. Edible plants. These could be seeds, fruits, tubers, stems, leaves. Give an example of a seed that you guys eat.
Sunflower.
Sunflower seed.
Strawberries have seeds on them.
Okay. True. No, I'd say we're gonna fit strawberry more as a fruit, and I guess you do eat the seeds. What would be one seed that you
Ooh.
solely? Yeah.
Bananas have seeds.
Jeez Louise. Let's just stick with sunflowers, okay? We said fruit. Give me an example of a tuber.
Potato.
Nice. Potato.
Have you ever had a raw potato?
Yeah.
Community eats those.
We need to get some.
Oh, I know a stem.
Actually, we could
Broccoli.
get raw potatoes and make them in the fridge.
We'll get
first, and that's
So you need to get some planted. What about stems?
how we're planning.
Broccoli.
Yeah, you could say the broccoli stem, and then on top it's kind of more of a flower a little bit. But
Wait,
give me another example of a stem you eat. Common.
roots.
Asparagus could be a stem.
Don't you just eat the roots? Or
Okay, stems and roots are different parts of the plant.
Sirloin.
I don't know why I was
Did
thinking.
you say sirloin? That's
Ooh, let's make those.
Sirloin.
celery. Okay, that's good. There, celery I was thinking of. What's another one that's really kind of sweet? It's really good in apple or in crisps or pies.
You just said
Starts with an R, and the leaves are
Rhubarb.
poisonous to pigs. What? Rhubarb. Anybody
Rhubarb.
have that?
That's
I don't know.
Oh, you kidding
I
me?
don't like rhubarb.
Rhubarb's solid. So good. And then leaves,
I don't like rhubarb.
lettuce. I mean, that's an easy one. Or cabbage. Food source for humans and livestock. Most important food plants are grains of the grass family, such as corn, rice, wheat, barley, sorghum. Definitely make up a huge part of our diet. So do potatoes. Starchy food, it is an energy source, but too much of it can turn into fat. And then you have back problems.
Rough.
Rough life. 88% of the world's calories come from plants, and it also can be provided in beverages, such as from pop to beer to, I guess we'll talk about it, our big blue agave plant in there in the greenhouse. That is how they make tequila. So, interesting.
At a cactus.
They're all our different edible plants. Next one we have our industrial uses. Okay. Scarce array of products exist in which plants have not played some important role, either as a component and implement in its construction or at least in the energy source like fossil fuels. Some of the more important plant products include wood fiber or wood, fibers, oils, and rubber. So give me an example of a plant that would be used for fiber. Oh, it says it there.
Cotton.
Flax, cotton, and hemp.
Flax.
Let's look here.
That kind of sounds like wax.
Like a flaxative?
Laxative?
That wasn't fun.
Here would be an example of, that's what flaxseed looks like. So when you guys take over the agronomy contest next year, we're gonna go through
Hey,
this.
agronomy. I'm doing ag sales.
Alright, you want-
Yeah,
Alright,
why are we
anything
doing
with
that
this?
sales this year?
Really are.
What is that?
Cotton.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think
I
Oh,
could,
wow.
Yeah,
I could've picked that up
animal
for you.
plants.
What?
Here, Taylor, I'll show you.
Oh,
So that's cottonseed. That would be a fiber.
You should get off your email then.
Alright. Many textile fibers are derived from plants, including cotton, flax, and hemp. The wood of trees is used to make furniture, houses,
Most important food fibers
timber.
are grains.
Fibers are elongated cells abundant in the bark and leaves of some plants. Cotton, which comes from long hairs on the cottonseed, is the world's most important fiber. Other fibers include, like it says, flax, jute, and kapak.
Cool.
Interesting. I'll show you a quick video of industrial uses after we finish this up here. Oh. Yeah, we won't get into Theo yet. Another ones, though, are medicinal uses. Plants. It says certain plants are useful in medicines because they contain chemicals that have desired side or physiological effects on the human system. So plants are definitely a big part of medicines, but they can also be poisonous, such as this nightshade plant that killed my horse.
What?
Your horse
Long
died?
time ago. Yeah, heck, how old was I? 5 or 6. We were driving to church, saw the horse was laying in the lot. Thought maybe she had just sunning herself. Nope, she was dead. Black nightshade is what we thought killed her. Ate it, poisoned her, killed her.
Were you very sad?
I wasn't as probably much as my brother.
Is your brother?
Jordan.
My brother Jordan.
Yeah.
Brandon.
I've
And
seen him on the news.
yep, he's on there every once in a while. Last one is oils. They're stored for food reserves and seeds, such as that flax seed. That could be an oil. The most important and significant oil plant, what do you think it is?
The most important one?
Oil plant. To get oil out of.
Fossil.
What?
Fossil.
No.
No.
Tell me, what crop is most important for oil production? Vegetable oil.
Soybean.
Soybeans. Very good. Also important crops are coconut, sunflower, peanut, cottonseed, and rapeseed, which is canola. So those are oil crops. Okay. We'll end right there with our purposes here. So give me an example of some roles plants play in your life.
I eat corn.
You eat, okay, food, absolutely. Edible plants. What else?
I grow
500,000
tomatoes.
kinds of
There are
plants.
500,000.
I grow tomatoes.
Okay, awesome. So we said food.
I
Give me
don't
another
know.
one.
But I grow
They give us stuff to do in the green.
Yeah.
Oh, they make medicines.
Medicines, and then also look at this right here.
Grass that keeps my
Lumber.
basement.
Lumber.
If the grass
Very
grows,
important.
then I make